Portal, Washington, D.C., and I'm teacher Peter Okware. Today I'm joined by a couple of people from different countries all over Africa, and we're going to talk about education briefly in just 10 minutes. Let them first introduce themselves, starting from my side.
I'm Thokozile Nkrumah from South Africa.
My name is Solomon from Cameroon.
I'm Teresia from Kenya. I'm Lina Boni from Kenya.
And we are privileged to have two beautiful sisters from Kenya, and I'm teacher Peter Okware from Uganda. Now, our brief discussion or topical discussion today is all about education, and we're going to look at competition in schools. We have made research that a number of schools in Africa, the objective of education in the initial stages was basically to upbring or groom the next generation. But if you look at it today, quality education has become very scarce in so many schools, simply because it is more from the families that are privileged or people who are privileged. And now I would like to find out in your respective countries, what are those measurements, or what are the requirements for a person to receive quality education? Should they be from privileged families? Is it a human right, or it is a service, like a given service by the government? So what does it take for a person that needs to get quality education in the country, in South Africa?
Okay, in South Africa, first I will explain that South Africa is a constitutional democracy. So we are governed by our constitution. And our constitution says that education is a basic human right.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter which background you're from, if you can or cannot afford education, that is not even a consideration, because it's your human right. As much as living is your human right, education is equally a human right as well.
Thank you. So now, what are those measurements or requirements, the minimum standard? Because yes, we believe education is a human right, but there's also what they call quality education. So now we are looking at the quality education, not education in the larger perspective. So is it also a human right in South Africa?
Of course, it's enshrined. Again, I will repeat, it's enshrined in the Constitution. The Constitution says quality education. Interestingly enough, it doesn't just say education, but it says quality education.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And my brother, what is your opinion in, not even your opinion, but how are things in Cameroon? Like, are the people privileged, at least even the people from the poor families or underprivileged families, to get quality education? And do we have a very big gap between the schools of the haves and those of the don't haves? Or it is generally good education?
I think it came from a country considered as one of the most educated people in Africa.
Cameroon.
Yeah, Cameroon.
Most?
Yeah,
Oh,
considered
that's good.
one of the most educated people in Africa. I think that, and I'm also an Anglophone Cameroonian, where our first economy is education. We give priority a lot to education. Even the less privileged people in Cameroon sacrifice most of their resources to this education of the young because Cameroon has a lot of challenges, like economic hardship, and we believe that education is the only way out. And so a lot of people back in my country spend a lot of resources in educating the children. Unfortunately, we have a conflict ongoing in Cameroon, and it has hugely affected the education cycle. Before the conflict in the Anglophone regions where I come from, we had more than 5,000 schools around the area. But because of the conflict, we had more than 4,900 of them affected, and approximately about 100 of them were just operational, and there was a huge migration from the Anglophone part to the Francophone part. And you see, if that huge migration came because of lack of education, you see the passion about education amongst young people, among people in Cameroon, not just from the ruling class, but about even the half-nots in Cameroon value education. Talk about quality education. I think that one of the things I will salute the Cameroon government, because I'm not really a friend of the government, but I really have to be objective to say this, is that they have made quality education accessible for everybody in Cameroon. And when I talk about quality education, it's relative. It's relative because our quality education, Cameroonian universities are not ranked among the best in Africa. Yeah, even though Cameroonians are some of the most educated, that's because we Cameroonians, we've learned to think out of the box. We are all over the world because we value quality education. We're all over the world struggling to study, but Cameroon universities are not ranked among the best in Africa. But the quality relatively to Cameroon compared to Cameroon, I think the government has really made a lot of efforts to subsidize education and make it accessible for everybody in Cameroon, especially with the government institutions, government universities are accessible to almost everybody in Cameroon.
Okay, thank you, brother. I came from Cameroon. My sister, I believe Uganda is a neighbor to Kenya, and I think the challenges and the testimonies that are in Uganda are relatively the same testimonies in Kenya when it comes to education. But according to you, do you see quality education attaining its the right lane in Kenya? Is it there? Is it for the privileged? Is it for the less privileged? Or it is for everyone in Kenya?
Thank you. What I can say is,
Louder, a bit louder.
in my opinion and my experience, is that there is quality education in Kenya. The government has really invested, including the recent change from the 844 system to a new curriculum that's called curriculum-based
Competence-based curriculum.
competence-based curriculum. Thank you. And it's a game changer for our education system because it has brought back the realization or appreciation of skills that our children have, and the government is really trying to include students in schools, even those that are from the rural parts, so that in terms of activities that are required to achieve the competence-based curriculum, teachers are supposed to use creative ways of making these children appreciate that curriculum-based, the competence-based curriculum. And when we come to the secondary level, or the government has really made it free, and even if it's not free totally, parents have to pay very little for their children to join secondary school. In fact, during the recent enrollment, if kids are not taken to school, the parents are to be jailed or taken to prison. And chiefs were going door to door in villages to see those homes that have not taken their children to the next level of education. And it's not just education, but it's quality education. And we say Cameroon, our education is among the best. We've seen students from all over Africa coming to Kenya, universities in Kenya, and that shows that we have good education. And so I feel we have quality education, and the government is trying as much as possible to make everyone included. Yes.
Thank you. Let me at least try to change the question. Simply because you're all from Kenya, and I would like you to give the same opinion or contradicting opinion. According to you, how do you define quality education, or how do you understand quality education? Because there are two things. What they call education, and in education now what they call quantity education, and we also have quality education. So how do you understand quality education?
Well, the question is for me?
You, yes.
Oh, okay. The way I understand quality education is education that can get you to where you want to be, education that can get you resources. So, and of course it would, we would have to classify it in levels. So if we are talking about quality education in terms of university level, we have the Baraton University of Eastern Africa, where you get so many students from all over Africa coming to study there. We have the Catholic University as well, international standard of education. We have USIU. We have so many quality where you can use these your certificates. You can use these certificates to apply even for your masters abroad. And the only other recommendation that would be required for you would be the English test. So that goes to show that we are above the standards, or we are reaching the international standards when it comes to quality. When it comes on the lower levels of studies, like from primary and PP1, PP2, I'm talking about where a 6-year-old is able to express themselves in good English, read and write. And we're also talking about this being done even in public schools. So to me, what quality education to me is education and certificates that you can use, not just within your country, but even outside. And the accreditation would still stand out.
To add on, it can make you compete globally.
Yeah,
Globally, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. The reason why, thank you, our participants from the different countries of Africa, and even our cameraman is also from a different country. Which country, kindly?
Burkina Faso.
From Burkina Faso, yes. Thank you. At least we have a full test. The reason why I posed this discussion, brief discussion, which I'll add on it later, was one, so many people understand what education means, and that we are investing a lot, like in Africa, we are investing a lot of money in education, but we have failed to understand the meaning of quality education. Yes, and it also goes back to all the opinion leaders and the policy makers. If they don't help us to understand what quality education means, we shall always we shall continue grappling with the way how we define quality education. I believe majorly what most African countries have, it is more of quantity education, not quality education. Why? Because if we had quality education, there are so many things that at this level whereby we shouldn't be importing them. Are you getting it? Because if I study to become an engineer, it simply means that there are certain things that an engineer should be making. But if you look at it, it becomes more theoretical. You have them on paper, but they're not practical. The other thing is, look at our doctors. Most of them are prescribers of drugs. They do less in terms of production or in terms of manufacturing, not because they don't want, but because of the way how they are trained. They are trained to be service providers, not manufacturers. Now, what should quality education of the 21st century do? Quality education of the 21st century should be helping us to come up with solutions to societal challenges. Like which challenges? Currently, we have a challenge of jobs in Africa. So you find a person with 3 maybe qualification in different areas, but they are still struggling. Why should you have a degree and a master's and then you still struggle to get a job? What did you master in? Did you master in just to look for a job? So those are some of the things that we should look at. But at the end of the day, we are not where we used to be as Africans, but at least it is your responsibility and my responsibility not to demand from our governments, but also to support schools and our societies to find out or to enable them understand the real meaning of quality education. Quality education is not whereby a person pays 1 million and the other pays 100, and we say this one who pays 100 in that school, they are not receiving quality education. A person might even be paying cheaper, but when they are getting quality education. So as we wrap it up, one of our take-home or one of our assignments is for all of us to go and find out really our nation's giving quality education and can it, or quantity education, can it help us compete favorably? Compare if they put a job on, just a mere small job like about analyzing situations. Can we analyze them compared to people who are doing it? Look at China. Are they providing quantity education or quality? Japan, Singapore, and compare it to ours. Where is it taking us? So that is the purpose of this discussion. And kindly keep it coming. Share your comments, share your opinions, We shall pick it up from there in the evening, and don't forget to subscribe to Teachers TV Africa. But before we go, I would like each person to end with one word or two. Is your nation providing quantity education or quality education? And most schools, what are they doing? Quantity, quality. Relatively.
Okay, from how you've defined it, I can say there is more of quantity and quality is it's somewhere. We are doing it gradually. It's a gradual process. We are trying.
Okay.
I can say the government has tried to bring
Thank you.
quality education.
I'd say quantity on the lower levels of education,
Okay.
quality on the higher institutions.
Yeah.
We are producing doctors, we are producing psychiatrists, neurosurgeons. We are doing a great job. So I would
Okay.
say on the lower side, on the lower levels of education, primary school level, it's more
It's
quantity because it's compulsory and free
And free.
education in Kenya. And then on the higher levels now where there is more specialization in school.
And
Okay.
with the incorporation
Thank
of
you.
the competence-based
Competence-based
curriculum, I
curriculum.
think it's now being skewed towards
Quality.
Quality.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I
My
think
brother.
I said a while ago that the quality education in Cameroon is relative,
Okay.
and I was talking based on the Cameroon context. Do the poor people access the big schools in Cameroon? That is the context of which I was
Okay.
answering the question and talking about quality education. But if you talk about quality education from a global perspective, I'm afraid I might not agree with you that we have quality education in Cameroon because our education system has not even been able to solve basic problems of employment in the country. And so
Okay.
there's a huge gap between knowledge that is gotten in school and knowledge that
I think-
supposed
thank
to be
you
in the
very
job
much.
market. And so the competent-based approach is not really being incorporated.
Okay, thank
in
you
our
very
academic
much.
system.
Because of time, thank you. Because of time, we shall pick it up from there. Kindly, we shall share the link also in our group of the Alumni Enrichment Exchange. Thank you for coming. Kindly, see you later.
Thank you.
That is a
bless you.
whole other topic.
But I think, I don't know whether you have got the issue.
Yes.
I would like you to start thinking deep about it.
And start talking
Hey,
about it.
I'm on. We didn't have a. Did you take a photo or now?
I don't know. Maybe we can.
The thumbprint, the thumbnail, yeah, the thumbnail photo.
I have to go.
Okay.
Before the ministers.
No, it's fine. You can go.
Did I bring my phone here?
Did I bring it?